Welcome back to the part 2 of the advanced sword system. If you haven't watched the previous video, I do recommend you go watch that, otherwise you won't be able to follow along this tutorial. And you also need a few scripts and a sword model from the previous video, as well as with the animations. So in the previous video I've said that we will cover the damaging animations and also blocking system, so that's exactly what we're going to do. So open animator to this rig from before. I'll just save this. And we can create a new animation. And just a quick guide, so all of these priorities, if you don't know what they mean, if I set to action 4, which we probably should actually, because if you're being attacked, I doubt any other animation is more important than that. So the animation 4 has the highest priority out of all of these, so actually I will use that. And now just create some sort of animation of a enemy being hit. Okay, so I think this is pretty good for me, so I will go ahead and publish that. And now what we can do is go to the replicated storage, insert a new folder. So we'll be using folder in case you want to have many of the different animations. But let's just work with one for now and go back to the sword. And now we need to open a server script and get the local damage anims equals replicate storage dot damage animations. Local damage anim1 equals damage animations dot what do we call it? Okay, damage anim1. And now down here we can just do humanoid load animation and then paste this animation. And actually let's make that a variable. Okay, and rig plays the damaged animation, but now I would also like to add some sound effects. Okay, so that sound I think is good. And another folder we can create is damage sounds and add this sound of your choice inside. Impact 1, I will name it like that, just in case we have many of them. Sounds equals game.replicate storage, and since we are using so many, let's just make rs equals game.replicate storage, so I can exchange it here. Local impact 1 equals damage sounds dot impact 1. And or actually you should probably clone it and then maybe actually don't put it here because it will need cloning here. And then we can do impact 1 dot parent equals enemy dot torso, and again put either into the torso or the upper torso if you're using R15 rigs. And actually, now that I think about it, we should probably put it here since we already have a torso here. And I know I'm kind of moving around these lines a lot, but I think it's much better like this, so then it fires straight away in this function. And we can do impact 1 play. Okay, and I'd say that works pretty good, so... Okay, but now one thing you've probably been wondering, why do I have this here? That's because we will add a blocking system. And how we are going to do that is add a bool value inside of the starter character scripts. So we can rename it blocking and set it to false for now. And you will also need to copy it and paste it inside of every enemy or rig or whatever, any monster you have. And we will also take these effects I found. Okay, so go back into the server script and now we will do if enemy find first child blocking equals true. What bro? Can I? True, okay. And then let's create another local function here, block VFX, and we can insert enemy inside. So we can do, we can fire it here, put enemy, and then we need to do a else and cut all of this and paste it after the else. So if the enemy is blocking, then we go to the blocking VFX, but if they are not, obviously then they take damage. Okay, so I'm just going to straight away copy all of this from the damage VFX, and then here we will just change a few things. So first of all, I'd like to find a sound Okay, so after a while I found a sound, and we can just insert it in damage sounds, doesn't really matter, and we can call it block 1. And now here we can just do block 1 and then clone. Torso can stay the same, but we just need to change, okay, I haven't added that, so blocking effects equals rs dot blocking effects. So copy that, and down here just change it inside of the for loop. And then let's try to emit 2 for now. I will just change this block 1, just so we don't mix it up with the impact. Oh, and okay, I realize what I messed up, so we need dot value here, obviously. Oh, okay, that's... okay, I forgot to... Okay, so go to all of these effects and go down to rate and put 0, just so it doesn't emit them while we are not hitting. Okay, so I think that's alright. Maybe we could do 1 probably, but this also looks good. So that one is blocking, and these ones are not, so then they're getting damaged, and we could maybe even do a blocking animation. So let's do that. Okay, so I think that looks good, and we can also set the priority to 4. And now publish it, copy the ID again, we can close this, go to the sword server, and honestly we can just copy all of this. So paste it here, and we will switch out these two. So those two effects, and oh yeah, we need to get the animation. Obviously I already forgot to put it in here, so we can just put it also in the damage animations. So then paste your ID inside, and we can do block anim1 equals damage anims dot block anim1. And now all we need to do is switch out this and remove the take damage. Or if you want, you could just like do, I don't know, lower damage, so if they like take maybe 3 damage if they're blocking or something like that. Something like really low, but I will remove it. And there you have it, we have our blocking animation now. And we should probably actually play the animation before we fire this function. Okay, so I think that looks alright. Could be better, you know, but whatever. But obviously now we can't block ourselves, so let's work on that. So what I want you to do is go to starter pack, cut out the sword, or copy it, paste it inside of the rig you've animated in before. So then create a new animation. I will rename it into blocking anim1, and we can save it as new. And of course we need to loop it, set the animation priority to action 3, and then publish it. So now get your sword back and go to the animations we made before, insert new animation. We can rename it blocking, paste the ID inside, and now we will need to insert a new service, user input service. And down here below the can hit you can add is equipped, and we can set it to false at the start. And now when it's equipped, do equals true, and down here equipped equals false. So we will be using this just so the player can't like block without a sword, because that doesn't really make sense. And now go all the way down here and the user input service dot input began connect function can do input and game processed event. If game processed event, then return end, because we'll do keycode.mouse right button. Yeah, that's it. And I will actually like to add another variable here, local held equals false. So now we can do held equals true, and then while held do, and then game get service run service dot render step wait, and then we would need to actually load the animation. So local block track equals humanoid load animation, but we haven't actually made a variable, I don't think. Oh, and this one is up here, so let's just put also this up here. Change that to capital B. Local block anim equals animations dot blocking. paste that inside, copy this, and then down here we can do play. And one more thing we could do is humanoid dot walk speed equals, and then I don't know, basically put a lower number than it is by your default. So my default is 16, and I will put 12, just so players while blocking aren't really like unstoppable. And that's probably the reason why you should also add a damaging inside the server script that I mentioned before. So maybe add like a slight damage while they're blocking, just in case, so the players can't block forever, because I think that would be kind of boring. And now we need to do another function. Since we did input began, here we'll do input ended, connect function, and then do input. And this time, if input, actually we can just copy this like that, held equals false. Oh, okay, so I realized we can't really do this because this is not what I meant it is. So for that we're going to delete this, and the user input type dot mouse button too, so the right mouse button, that's it. So just change that down here too. And we should also change this here, so user input type. And one thing I obviously forgot to do is get the is equipped. So then down here, and let's actually get rid of this. I know it's kind of annoying, but we don't actually need it. If is equipped, or actually if not is equipped, then return end. And we don't really need it here because this is when the input is ending. And other than is equipped, one more thing I forgot, or actually two of them, is blocking track. So we should stop this and reset this back to 16. And while we're at it, maybe get the idle track, and then the idle track stop, and down here idle track play, just so the animations don't overlap. Okay, so when I hold this button, we are blocking it, it's printing. While I hold it, we don't have the idle animation on, and we are also walking much slower. And of course I had forgot something, I didn't actually add a function for blocking, but that's because we need to do that on the server side. So now what we are going to do is duplicate this hit remote event, rename it block remote event, and let's find it here. Okay, here it is. So I'll just copy it and then switch this out. So block remote event, and up here, so not inside of the while loop, because I think that would really overwhelm the game. Just do fire server, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. Doesn't, or actually no, we should add a start, and then copy this, and down here we do stop. So we actually do need a value in here, or you can even put like numbers, so maybe 1 and then 2 for the stopping, but just something so that the server script knows that we are starting the blocking and also stopping it. So let's go in the server script, and I will just copy this blocking remote event, okay, like that. And then we can do this all the way down here on server and connect function with the player, and then value. Now if a value equals start, then we do something, else if value equals stop, then we do another function. So now we can do local function start block, or you know what, actually we can just do with one function, so block, and then insert value inside of this, and then if value equals start, then something something, else if value equals stop. And I've just realized this is kind of a dumb way to do it, because then we don't really even need this, so it doesn't really make sense. We can just do block and then value inside of this. And what we could do is get some of these effects from the blocking. Okay, so I will take this effect, we can delete all of the other ones, and now you can just insert it inside of the blade. We can put the rate to maybe 5, and let's maybe get the size so they are not that large, something like that. And after that we do need to disable it, so check off the enabled. And now go back here And we do need to get the player as well actually, so let's do player and up here too. So if they start blocking, you can do character equals, or actually let's do that outside, makes more sense. Player dot character, which we could have just sent from here, but nah, it's okay, we can do it this way as well. Then character dot blocking dot value equals true. Copy this, paste it here and put to false. And then also what we can do is tool dot blade dot what's the particle effect? I think it was this one. I'll just rename it into blocking effect so it's more clear. Dot enabled equals true. I will also copy this, paste it down here and set it to false. So I'm pretty sure that's it. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so it does work. We get this cool effect. And if I open my character here and go to the blocking, when I hold it, it puts the value to true. So I don't really have a way of testing this because I'm the only player here and I'm really too lazy to script a whole enemy fighting me. But as you can see, it does work. Of course, you do need to have each weapon work the same way, because if there's other means of taking damage in this game, then obviously blocking it wouldn't stop the taking damage. So if you have any other weapons, you also need to copy this system onto them. And in the next video, I will teach you how we can make some advanced abilities and maybe even add like a stamina bar or maybe even a blocking bar so the players can block the attacks forever. So if you want to see that, make sure to subscribe and thanks for watching.